In today's daily debrief, we're covering some DeFi opportunities that are very, very juicy right now. Also, what we can do in terms of trading BTC and Sol. There's some JUP news, there's a new JUP vote, and there's more. Let's dive in. Let's get amongst it. Okay, so first up, Cointelegraph has this information here. There's a massive amount of stake that has been distributed across multiple wallets, unstaked and removed from FTX Alameda estate. And that is $431 million worth. So let's see what happens with it next. Galaxy Digital was sent 125 million, but they've just gone staked with Coinbase's validator, which is strange because it doesn't earn a very good APY, so unusual. Now, aside from that, which relates to like unlocks and whatnot, let's move into the fact that the actual markets in general are not going to perform very well. Potentially because the S&P 500 is not going to be performing very well. Benjamin Cohen goes over this. Remember, stocks usually show weakness around this time in post-election years up until about late March. Didn't actually know this before, about a month ago, unfortunately. There's always a whole lot to learn. So as Bitcoin correlates very, very heavily to S&P 500, we're probably going to not see anything crazy. It's going to be a boring time, but there's other things that we can do to keep ourselves very, very in tune. And because of this, Q1 thus far with Bitcoin reserves, Bitcoin returns, and also Ethereum reserve returns have not been decent at all, and Sols have been probably quite a bit worse. Now, in general, BTC is going from retail to larger investors. Now, someone has to buy, right? Every time something is sold, someone is buying. Someone's on the other side actually buying. So retail are selling because they're not interested in this token at present. They'll go and buy in when it goes past its all-time high again. But the larger investor is buying it. So just to keep in mind that metric is pretty relevant. Right now, there's a trade war going on. There's some bullish crypto news, probably the most bullish crypto news ever in terms of what's happening with the SEC, dropping cases, the Sovereign Reserve Fund, all that sort of stuff. But then the S&P 500 is going down. S&P 500 is falling like a global trade war has begun, which kind of has with the tariffs. Oil prices going down, gold prices are rising like inflation, etc., etc., etc. So this is what just happened with the Dow. It went up and then it just crashed down massively. This is just due to the fact that there's uncertainty in the market, and uncertainty in the market will produce these sort of things. Also, China says if war is what the US wants, be it a tariff war, trade war, any other type of war, we're ready to fight until the end. I mean, these are two big giants, right? If one person comes and says, I'm going to bully you, well, then someone else is going to come by and say, fine, I'm going to bully you back. Okay. In general, though, it's a bullish time. March is set to be a big month for crypto. You've got March 6th, 7th, 10th, 14th, and 21st. All this stuff is concerned, relating to crypto, which has never before happened before. Some improvement in regulation, some kind of guidelines, establishing the sovereign reserve. So don't lose interest now, essentially. We have had a little bit of bounce up. Of course, we had a bigger bounce up the other day. And now we came on down hard and we've kind of pumped up a little bit. Is the bottom in? Potentially, but you don't want to be liquidated if Sol does rip down to, say, $100 or if ETH comes down to 1,800. So stay safe out there. Fear and greed is at 20. 20 is not as bad as 10 or 15, but it's still pretty low. And this is, certainly a time to DCA in, not necessarily leverage. Having a look at the Solana calendar, we've got a JUP vote starting today. We'll go over that shortly. Remember, just stake your soul with LD.com, Moonwalk, Walk to Earn, and then tomorrow, Solana SIMD 0228 vote begins. If you stake your soul with LD.com, and if you want to vote yes or no, let me know. There's a big division here. I feel in general, this is basically a proposal to have a dynamic staking rate. And I haven't covered it much because it's not really clear. I would say overall, a no vote's probably better, but most likely a yes vote will happen. And yes, we want to change it to this dynamic system, which will hurt in many respects. because it hasn't been worked out really well. It's something that's better than something before. I think more effort needed to be put into the proposal, to be honest. But it doesn't really matter if it passes. Like, we're still going to do well off staking our Sol, and Sol will do well. Fill the gap, CME to launch Sol futures on March 17th. So this is a little catalyst. We already know about it, so it may already be priced in, but it is a catalyst. It's a first stage until an ETF comes. And Solana apps in February generated more revenue than all other chains combined. So that's good, but this will die down unless we start to improve the meme coin launchpad game, which MetaDAO's working on something. Don't have any information on that yet, but also JUP as well. So bullish on both those things, and we'll cover them as soon as they're kind of ready. A wallet linked to the Get Trump meme, which, just for the record, I DLMM'd. I bought the top when people shielded it to me on a live stream when I shouldn't have listened to these individuals, and down horrendously. I no longer have any interest in this token whatsoever. But nevertheless, someone's buying it up. It's pretty rubbish meme coin, to be perfectly honest. So bearish on Trump, just letting you know that there is some buy pressure on this to buy in a range. Now let's move on to the Jupiter CatPad news. So this was covered yesterday in the JUP rally, and this is a pretty cool thing. It's a new way. It's a new launchpad. It's like LFG V2. Well, it is LFG V2. There are 3 different stages. The first one we've got thus far, and as we get the redacted information unredacted, we'll cover the other 2. All I want to say is it seems like a good launchpad. Basically, it's kind of like GoFundMe, where you can raise a certain amount, then you raise a certain amount, it gets locked in liquidity. The liquidity generates fees. The fees goes to the team to actually produce what they're after, and potentially it could work. I think it's a better option than other things out there. Of course, there's GoFundMe out there as well, which could do well. And there's also Pumpkin.Fund, but I'm unsure how Pumpkin.Fund has been actually shipping. So the Jupiter DAO also has a proposal on. This is a 2030 proposal. It was going to be the 555. It's renamed. And it's one that I'm divided on. I can see the pros and cons on both things, and I'd rather do a dedicated video on it myself later today. And you can watch that if you want, like, the pros and cons of each thing with my kind of, transparent take on it. Otherwise, read it. Basically, there's 2 options. The vote will go live today. You've got a couple of days. Do it on the first day. That way we won't forget. And this gets active staking rewards. Option 1 is with the strategic reserve. This is just like keeping things the same to pay, to align the 65 people that have been acquired by Jupiter. Option 2 is to use Meow's fund to go and align these people, and that way the strategic reserve will go back to Meow later. Just have a look at it and watch this video. At least watch the first 2 minutes of this video. It's a good TLDR summary created on JUP's rally yesterday. Fabiano has this post here as well, like, just to make it really, really clear. Option 1, unlock 280 million JUP from the team strategic reserve. Meow won't touch all tokens until June 2026. So option 1 will mean that come June 2026, which would be, bear market, to be perfectly honest, Meow would then be able to take all of his JUP, and if he was like done with it or whatever, he'd just sell, right? He'd sell OTC, whatever, potentially, right? And then there would be unlock of 280 million JUP from the team strategic reserve. That would have happened, and they would go to alignment with people with some sort of vesting schedule or something, right? Long-term alignment. Option 2 is Meow uses personal allocation of 280 million JUP to front the new talent alignment. And then 2030, the 280 million from the strategic reserves goes back to Meow with a bonus of 220 million from the community reserve. And I think the point where people are going to be like, should we do this? Well, it doesn't really matter, because what we're going to basically say is this is such a massive amount of JUP. Should it go ahead? And I'll give you my views in a different video. Meow's account was compromised as well, by the way. He's not launching meme coin. It was recovered. He has no idea what happened. Same thing happened to Shore. Jupiter Pump Fund got attacked as well. Unsure if there's like a link to Twitter, or if there's just some operational security guidelines which are not quite done perfectly. Now let's move on to some DeFi opportunities. At present, I'm just kind of covering Solana for the most part today, but we'll be covering other DeFi stuff and other live streams and whatnot. And I am moving house and I don't have the most reliable internet, so I won't be live streaming, sadly, until I've got that sorted. Sorry, I don't have the most reliable electricity, but that'll be sorted soon. So the DLMM pools for Circle's EURC, which is a stable coin, right? Euro and USDC, they fluctuate very, very minorly. Over the next 4 weeks, a total of 100K in EURC rewards will be locked. So this is perfect. This is 12.5K per week. There's one pool here. This is bin step 1, which is not what I like, but maybe bin step 20, because you'll just fall out of range, to be honest. You'll have to manage this really, really actively. Bin step 20, 12.5K. I'd go, if you have some stables, go flick it in here. It's earning a decent reward. You're going to get a share of this, 50K. That's going to be in this pool. And I think that's pretty decent. 50K, $500,000 TVL. Maybe there's $1 million there. I don't know what's going to happen. Like after it finishes, I'll just withdraw. You've got your incentives. You're in, you're out. You're just using the blockchain how it's supposed to be used. Now, a little bit of an update on Bybit. Hacked funds, they're still watching where they're going. Most of them have been cleaned or moved to BTC or whatnot. And there is a bounty. So anytime a recovery happens, you get 10% back as a bounty. So this has been worked on. Bybit has been very, very transparent through the process, which does lead me to think that Bybit may become like my preferred central exchange. Bonk, Send Love with a BonkMart app is now live on the Google Play Store. So you can actually use this to send love by using this app here. Get amongst it, send someone a bonk card. Could be cool. GoFundMemes partners with Jito Sol Foundation, which will allow tokens graduating from GoFundMemes to be paired with Jito Sol instead of Sol. This is a very cool thing to happen. I know way back in 2021, MSol, Marinade Sol, they wanted you to be able to buy NFTs in MSol or whatever. Like they wanted it to be used as a really beautiful liquid token. Jito Sol has more liquidity and they've got more protections on their liquidity. So Jito Sol is the best bet right now. So well done to them. And DeFi Dungeons launch month is upon us. It's GameFi season. I'm unsure if I will cover this in any tutorial form like I did it previously with the heist from the same team. I'll reach out to the team, and if they will fund the content or whatever, I may do so. Just put it on your radar. Just keep in mind, it's new, it's cool, but there are a lot of pre-sales that went out last year. There will be some hype. There are a lot of big NFT communities that bought a lot of them. So just if the price goes up, if you buy in, the price goes up. Not financial advice, but you may want to take some profits. You can have a look at the heist charts in the previous 2 years ago or whenever that is, just to keep in mind that things can go up and down. And I would say the same thing here. Now, a little bit of Monad news. If you hold any one of these, basically ETH NFTs, you would have been sent 10 plus Mon tokens, so you can get amongst the testnet. In general, the testnet's actually gone down in terms of activity because people have said it's not incentivized, or there's a rumor it's not incentivized. I don't know if we have confirmation on that. The point is just go and use something. Make crypto fun again. That's my basic TLDR. NFT Week is now live on Monad testnet. Expect ecosystem mints and experiences, including a weekly NFT whitelist for fantasy top winners. Get amongst it. Have a bit of fun. I have a video on it. And Backpack has this. It's Monad Monday. Time to catch up with the latest testnet alpha and upcoming. And they've got a little thread here. So maybe each week they're going to put something out. Just follow them and just try new stuff. At the very least, you're going to try something. You're going to like it. You're going to use it when it's on mainnet. And if you're lucky, you'll be rewarded some sort of airdrop, which may or may not happen. I've done a pretty decent tutorial on it. Check it out. It's 35 minutes. You can watch it on 2x speed if you are a fast learner. Get amongst it. All right, let's have a look at a little bit of charting stuff. Just to keep in mind, this may be a time when you want to re-enter a trade. I am not a professional trader at all. I'm professional at using DeFi dApps and that kind of stuff and farming and whatnot. However, this has worked. You can watch the video from Katoshi. I'm going to reference it until I learn other skills that are better. Now, this could be like a short-term position. You may not want to be greedy. You could go in with some USDC and you go in with spot if you wanted to. So typically we want to have a look on the Bitcoin 2-hour to see how this is going. We've just gone green. So you could have entered when it goes green. You would have entered this point because you would have waited for that to go up. And then thus far we're up 2.45%. You generally, remember, you go green, you exit when it goes red, but you can exit beforehand just by, you know, if something like this happens to pump up 10%, like there's going to be some correction. Most of the time when like S&P 500 has not done that, there's going to be some sort of correction. So here, this would have been like a time to close for sure. But I'm not online all the time, so I can't kind of give that information. You can also flick this to the 1 day chart and just kind of see how this looks here. But I'm unsure if I think we need to use different settings here. But in general, like we're in a kind of a bearish time. But it's a little bit bearish right now, but we could still scalp something momentarily. We can see the same thing happen here. Flash green, came on down a little bit, rocketed up. You would have definitely taken some profits because from the time it kind of flashed green, around about here to there, it's like 20%. 20% move in a couple of hours. This is on the 2-hour chart, of course, worthwhile. Then we've got this done just again. We went red briefly, didn't have any kind of thickness to the curve, and now we've just come green, but it hasn't got any thickness now, but you could enter here. You could enter here, you could have a stop loss if you want to. You know, don't get too greedy. It is not it's a down market. Now, JUP is also had a nice little run up. Nothing crazy, but like 13%. And remember, you can take profits at 5, 10, whatever. Then it came off, and we could see that here. Came down 10% just by following this pattern. So it works pretty well, to be perfectly honest. One thing I want to point out, though, is with JUP, if they announce something, if you see like Meow, JUP, Cash saying something on Twitter, like it's going to be a banger, new product release or whatever, it's generally going to have a positive price movement, generally, right? So having a look at JUP USD, they did their live stream yesterday at 3:30 p.m. UTC on the 4th. So like it actually dumped down during the live stream. So they started here, and then it came on down here, and then it bounced up. But what you could do, if you want to, is with a DLMM, is a couple of hours beforehand, just have a look at the charts, and like if it's already here, and it's just been this massive green candle, and you're like, okay, or green curve. You may not want to go, okay, yeah, let's buy some, let's long it. But if you see that it's kind of coming down and it's reaching into the border line here, watch the video I've done with Katoshi. If it comes on down like at 1:30, at this kind of period here, you could quite easily have bought some, buy $1,000 worth of JUP, set it to go up 10% in a bid-ask system. So you're asking, and then this is what would have happened. You would have made fees as you sold up. You would have bought back down, made fees. Then this is your range, right? So here, you wouldn't have done anything here. You would have been at a loss, and then it would come up, and then you'd be selling. And then in the end, it didn't go up 10%. By here, it went up 7.7%. But all those fees, plus you've generally just taken $1,000, and with the fees, you probably would have turned it into $1,100. It probably would have been pretty decent. Certainly not financial advice, but an opinion that I personally have. Anyway, that is all. Thanks very much for watching. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and check out these 2 videos over here. Cheers.